This router sucks. Those of you who are new to the channel, I'm a Starlink installer. It's almost entirely what I do for my job. I have many clients, hundreds of them, and this is the big issue that I'm facing right now. So a couple months ago, they came out with these new standard kits, which I'm going to show you right here. But before we get to that, I'm going to show you the previous generations. So this is a generation 1 router for Starlink. Absolutely fantastic. Lots of range. Worked great. Generation 2. Fantastic router. Huge amount of range. Love this one too. Guess what? This one, which is also called the router 3, this is the new one. This one comes with a standard 4X kit, which you have to get a higher up package to get. So when you go on the cheaper packages, you get that one. Anyway, this router, fantastic. It's also cost about $175 Canadian for that router. So this is the one that they're sending with the cheaper kits now. So 90% of my customers at least are going on the cheaper plans because there's no reason for them to get a higher plan. 100 megs of download speed is more than enough for a regular household. When you order your standard kit, you're going to get this one. So you're going to open it up, and then there's going to be your dish. And then guess what's inside? There you go. Your little teeny little router. Now these things work very well as a mesh node because you're piggybacking off of one of these two routers. But as a standalone router, it just is not holding up at all. Half the customers were just putting their old routers back in, their old routers like this, because there's just so much more range on them. Okay, so we're going to explain what options you have here and what you should be doing about it. If you haven't ordered a Starlink yet and you wish to, we are going to have a referral code down below that's going to give you a free month of internet, and we also have videos explaining all the plans, so check those out. So in my experience, this guy has basically the same amount of range as this, which is like a $20 cheapo router. This one may be a little bit better, but these are kind of cheapo ones. So we're not going to worry about these guys. You don't want these guys. You're going to want the cheaper kit. You're not going to want to get the more expensive kit just to get the bigger router because it's twice as much money for the max package over the small package. And then I'm pretty sure the middle of the road package, you're supposed to get that router as well, but it's going to be another $30 or $40 a month or whatever. So it's going to add up pretty quick. These are the alternatives we're going to use here. Oh, and by the way, this is for you guys that have normal houses and cottages and just want a Wi-Fi system that's going to work. Because there's a whole kind of group of Wi-Fi crazy people out there that are going to tear me to shreds in the comments because I'm not an expert in Wi-Fi. And I don't need to be an expert in Wi-Fi. That's not what my business is about. It's about getting customers Wi-Fi. So you guys are watching, go watch a video that's more relevant to you. This is for regular people. Okay, so option 1 is you can order one of these from Starlink, but considering the cost of it, I think there's better options, and we're going to go over that now. So basically, you can get yourself a really good standalone router. And kind of when it comes to a router, it's going to come down to how much you spend. Don't worry about Wi-Fi 6 and 7 and all that stuff. Once again, this is not a networking nerd channel. Basically, you don't put this one in and you put this one in. It will plug right into the power supplies using the wire that comes out of there. Ordinarily, we go into there. You just put it into there instead. Good to go. Okay? So that's a good solution for most people. Just getting yourself a decent router, probably in the $60 to $100 range. We're going to link a pile of routers down below. There's like 800 available, so we're just going to link the most popular that we can find and the ones that we think are really good, and you can kind of just go through them for yourself. Square footage is a big thing. I have done this where you kind of pair these up because you used to be able to buy these, and maybe you will be able to again. But if you could pair a couple of them together, it would be fine. But in the absence of being able to buy these on Starlink's website right now, I've just been using these. Price is going to determine the range again. So the problem with these is that you're creating a second network. It's not a big deal for most people, but you're going to have this Wi-Fi network, and then this one's going to kind of repeat off of it, but it's going to have its own network, and that's kind of a pain because stuff on the one side of the house is going to run off this one, and this one's going to run off this one. So it's not a perfect solution, but it's a cheap way out, as this is probably only like $30. This one's probably like 50. Okay, so moving on to the next one. I am not sponsored by TP-Link. By the way, I just use them a lot because they're easy to get, they're reliable, and they're very affordable. This kind of accomplishes the same thing as that Linksys router would, just a good all-around decent router. But these ones have easy mesh built into them. If you decide to buy one of these and you want to plug it in there and you find that it's not quite doing enough, You can quite simply just buy another one. Doesn't even have to be the same model. They just have to say Easy Mesh, and they also are available from Linksys, Asus, and I think there's another company. So Easy Mesh is all compatible with Easy Mesh systems, and then you can just pair them all together and it creates one big mesh network. So that's something you can look into more thoroughly on other channels that know more about networking. But anyway, that's a good solution there. The other solution here, and this one works really good, is just get yourself a whole home, in this case, deco network. I just bought the one with 2 because I don't know when I would need 3, but you can get them with 3 pods. You can also buy the pods to add on to them as long as you keep buying decos. Other companies might have similar products as well. Just once again, I'm using TP-Links for all of this stuff. Square footage. Okay, so that's what it comes down to is you're gonna wanna be able to cover the square footage. So if your house is like 1,500 square feet, get one that maybe does 2,000 square feet. Don't just go for the minimum amount. I would say that this one, I'd be comfortable at about 1,000 feet, and that's about it, because it does not seem to travel far at all. Okay, so there is one other thing too. We talked about the Easy Mesh, and then there's also a One Mesh. These guys are compatible with One Mesh, and that's a TP-Link specific system. So if you're gonna stick with TP-Links, just know that, if you're gonna get the One Mesh, you're gonna have to stick with TP-Links. Whereas the Easy Mesh will cross onto other brands that also have the Easy Mesh built into them. So there's not really a problem with One Mesh. I don't know that I'd recommend it per se, but it's also an option. Okay, so let's talk about router placement now. So a lot of times what we're gonna have is you got your main house, and then a lot of people have like a detached garage there, and then they might have a bunkie like here or over here. Okay, this is the applications that I run across all the time. So you want to get the Wi-Fi. Well, we want it to work in the garage. Lots of times there's an apartment above the garage. I mean, obviously we want it to work there so the in-laws can watch TV or whatever when they're there. This is something to think about. Back in the day when these were coming out and we got them in every kit, you would kind of just put it there, and typically it would jump across and it would hit these guys without too much trouble. You want to put it in the glass if possible, that way you're not shooting through a wall. And then we could do, something like we would be able to put the mesh maybe there and it would pick it up, and then it would kind of do that one. We're kind of getting away from that now because this is not a common setup anymore. Like I said, this is the main router that's coming, so usually you're not getting this now. So I have one where it's a deco system and it's installed in the garage, and then there's a wire running between the 2 buildings. So he's got it out here, one pod, and then it runs in here. He's got one pod there, and he's got one pod there, and then there's a bunkie over here, and it does that as well. So that's something to consider too. You can also get it from building to building using a wireless bridge, which we have videos on that as well. Possibly a powerline bridge, which I think we have a video on that soon. If we don't know, I think we already have one on that. Okay, so there's lots of ways to do this, but basically the moral of the story is think about this before you get your kit there with the router. That's probably going to be very disappointing if you have a larger building. And certainly it's not going to jump across the yard very well. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of testing. We're going to show you kind of what the range is on this one. And then maybe we'll use the Linksys, or maybe we'll use the equivalent TP-Link, but we'll do a little bit of testing here, kind of show you the range.
Okay, so I've tested 3 TP-Link routers, and here are the results. So the Archer C50 is somewhat similar to the mini router. It might perform a little bit better with speeds, but it had very bad packet loss on 2.4G, so I would not recommend using it. The Archer AX23 had pretty good speeds across both bands, and it just performed quite well. It's a good option. But the clear winner is the Archer A6. It didn't win every category, but it did perform quite well. Every router performed well within 100 feet. Of course, there were no walls in the way of this test. It looks like the Archer AX23 is best for 5 gigahertz performance, and the A6 is best for stable 2.4G performance. So if you want a nice stable router you don't have to think about, I recommend the Archer A6. You will have to download the TP-Link Tether app to set it up. The other ones I didn't have to. I'm not sure what the difference is, because you'd think that they'd want you on their app for every product that they make, but that's just what I experienced. So anyway, back to my dad, Greg.
And also keep in mind, if you just ordered the Starlink or you're going to order the Starlink, make sure that you have a mount. We have a whole video on mounts, and mounts linked in the description. And also cabling. You might want a longer cable than the 50 foot it comes with. Just think about all this stuff right now, because if you haven't ordered it yet, you're going to want to deal with all of this. That way, when you get the thing, you can just do it and it's done. So anyway, that's all I got for today. So hopefully you liked it. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you're interested in ordering a Starlink, check out that video there, which is going to explain everything that you need to know before you order it. Okay? Thanks for watching.